Now, I had this question about behavioral economics.
Yeah.
Behavioral economics is the new white whale for, I would say, equally for CEOs, marketers, actually for everybody.
Yeah.
Because behavioral economics is about influencing and creating great results with very little effort.
Yeah.
So since you're from the foods division, I want to state research done through behavioral economics. Other things remaining constant, they studied two groups of people who were eating food, and they found out that this bunch of people eats more food than this bunch of people. So this is like a quiz competition, right? Everything else remains the same. These guys are equally hungry, the food's equally good, the place is equally good where they're eating. So what prompts people to eat more on this side versus that? And the surprising answer was the size of the category, which is almost impossible to include. So this is just one very, very small example of how powerful behavioral economics is. At the same time, again, I'm baffled here as to, I would want your inputs as to how much of behavioral economics is used in Hindustan Unilever specifically, and also general comment on why in India, plenty of companies, even across the world, but more so in India, they've just not warmed up to behavioral economics. If you differ from my opinion, please.
No, I don't differ from your opinion. I think the first thing in the important thing in behavioral economics is not in the economics but in observing the behavior and getting insights out of the behavior, right? So one of the things that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about insights, because what you just said now was an insight, which is the amount of food that you consume is determined by the plate size. It's a very simple, it's an insight. And I think in HUL there is a systematic process to arrive at insights. So you call it behavioral economics, I'm going to call it, behavioral insights. It's the same thing, right? And the crux of generating insights is observing behavior versus asking people about things and and living very, very closely with them.
Absolutely.
And and then sort of having the ability to connect various dots to come at an insight. And I've spoken about an insight being a contradiction that is obvious in hindsight. Now your example is a contradiction which is obvious in hindsight. Now it's obvious to me in hindsight that someone who's given a bigger thali will eat more than if you're given a smaller plate. Okay. But the way you phrased it, which is two people are given the same amount of food and one eats more, it's a contradiction. And one of the really interesting behavioral insights that I've written about in the book is when I was in ETA doing my rural stint, I had an insight which says that dowry causes more births than deaths. And people, and the reason was I was speaking to my host who was a farmer and he had 3 daughters and a son, and I said, don't you know about family planning? And he knew much more about family planning than I did. But he said that every daughter that he has is income out. And after 2 daughters, he's anyway going to be so indebted that he might as well be a gambler and take a chance and get a son so that he gets income in. So that was I think that's a bit. What did that insight come out of? The insight came out of observing the behavior, sitting with him, seeing the children there, and sort of. So I would say the great behavioral economics will come when we are sort of intimate with consumer behavior.
Okay, but I'm still puzzled why more people are not into behavioral economics as well as looking at the way Levers is using behavioral economics.
You have to go out of your comfort zone to observe behavior. You see, Levers has an infrastructure and a lot of belief in consumer intimacy, and it creates a certain infrastructure for consumer intimacy. So you can't do behavioral economics if you're not observing behavior, right? I mean, where's the economics going to come in?
Right.
So that was that's perhaps one of the reasons. But there are companies that do it. I mean, I think, maybe there should be more.
Right.